Consider this the ultimate guide for picking the best project management software for your small business. This video is not sponsored, it's not written by AI, and it's not stuff that you can find on Google. This review is based on my experience working with over 2,000 teams in over 50 different industries to systemize their operations using task management software like the ones I'm going to be talking about today. Whether you're looking to organize your nonprofit, your startup, your corporate team, or your small business, this ultimate review is going to give you a step-by-step through which tool is going to be best for which type of team. We're going to be going through the 8 most popular options that small businesses choose, from Asana to Basecamp to ClickUp to Monday to Notion to SmartSuite to Todoist and Trello. I want you to know which tool is actually going to be the best for you. And the way to figure that out is through 2 questions that over the last 7 years of doing this, I have found really helps people narrow it down. Question number 1 is thinking first around the founder or your brain. The main organizing person, whoever that is, I want you to think about how you or they organize information offline. So which of these 6 ways of organizing yourself offline have worked best for you or the founder or owner of the organization you're working for? This offline organization method is going to let us know what to look for in the digital version. Now that's just part 1. Once you have the first question down, we've got one more question, because you and how you organize is not the only thing that matters to the team. If you're running a business, you're organizing a group of people. And as I've talked about in this video, being a productive individual is not enough to have a productive team. We also need to make sure everybody else is working in the same way. So while your brain matters, so does everyone else. So the next question I want to ask you is about the business. Which of these 4 business models best describes how your business generates value? So if you think about your main service, your main product, your main offer, the thing that makes you money, how is it structured? Is it a service that's done differently every time with custom proposals? Is it a service that is sold like a product where the steps and deliverables are pretty much the same with small tweaks per person? Is it a product where you have fixed inventory and you need to make sure you order certain materials in order to do the job? Or is it a product where you have infinite inventory because you're selling IP, information, or access? Pick which of these describes the main way your organization generates revenue. Have the answer to those 2 questions? Well, then I have a surprise for you. Based on your brain wiring and your offer type, this is my recommendation for the best software for your particular team. For example, if I'm someone who rewrites my to-do list every single day or uses a bullet journal, and I run a custom service business, Notion's probably going to be the best fit for me. You can continue for any other combination of factors here to find the best project management tool, in my opinion, for your business, for your team, and for your brain. There's one more thing you can do to make sure you pick the right tool, which is watch the rest of this video. I'm going to go through all 8 of these tools one by one, giving you my opinion on the design, innovation, ease, features, pricing, what they're great for, what they're terrible for, and what they are famous for. So that way you can make an informed decision on which ones you want to pay closer attention to. And as if that's not enough, inside each of these 8 tools, I've set up trials and task plans so you can see how the exact same task, in this case, creating a blog post, looks and feels inside each of the tools. In other words, I have spent hours messing with all of these tools so you don't have to. But with that, let's start our first review, beginning with Asana, because we're going alphabetical. So Asana is a tool that people really like for its ease of use and design. A lot of folks who are hardcore Asana users rave about the clean interface, the fact that you can create tasks in a few clicks, and the fact that you don't have to work that hard organizing your information. It's all ready to go right out of the box. So when it comes to design, I give Asana a 3 out of 3. When it comes to innovation, new features, and new ways of managing projects, Asana doesn't quite stack up though. I would give it a 1 out of 3 for innovation because when it comes to new exciting features, Asana just doesn't have them. And from a user perspective, it doesn't seem like they care to have them. It's certainly a legacy project management tool that was popular for a reason, but doesn't really have a strong competitive edge in the current day, in my opinion. Now, personally, I find the lack of innovation a bit uninspiring and boring, but if you are someone who is a bit of a technophobe, this can actually be a real advantage because with Asana, the ease of use is about as easy as it can get. You can get into Asana, set up a project, and start figuring out how to create tasks pretty intuitively, because they haven't really been changing things up that much, which is great for new users. But of course, I have to highlight here that when it comes to features and advanced things to make Asana powerful, Asana is pretty boring. I give it a 1 out of 3 in new features. When it comes to pricing, Asana is in the middle of the pack. Something I don't love about Asana is that they do require you to pay extra to use things like custom fields, which some of these other tools do as well, but it's definitely not one of the most generous plans out there. Now, when it comes to what Asana is best known for and what its best use case, this might be a little sassy, but it feels like Asana is kind of like the Kardashians of the task management tool. They're famous for being famous. They are popular because they've been here for a long time. And a lot of people, not to generalize, but a lot of our hardcore Asana users out there, they love Asana because they've been using it for a long time and it's familiar. But if you are someone brand new getting into this world and you're looking at all of these tools, it's hard to make an argument for going into Asana in this modern time, unless you just really value things that are stable and don't change, in which case Asana or Trello that we're going to be talking about later are going to be right up your alley. For Asana and all of the tools I'm going to talk about, you can find affiliate links to all of them in the description. Using those links don't cost you anything, but some of these software companies will actually give us, our channel here, a small commission if you use those links. So this is a no-cost way for you to support this work if you feel so inclined. Oh, quick reminder, if you want to see more about any of the software I'm talking about in this video, write a comment saying more name of software below. So if you say more Asana, I'll produce more videos about Asana, more ClickUp, vice versa. I'd love to hear what videos you would like to see more about. Leave a comment below. Now, boiling it all down, I think Asana is great for people who love a physical planner and they like a simple to-do list. They want all the simplicity of maybe Apple Notes or their Android Notes app, but they want a little bit of extra feature on top of that. Asana is a good gateway drug into the task management software space. Where Asana falls short is for folks who really want to have dashboards and reporting and advanced functionality. Asana kind of has it, but it's so weak compared to all the other tools we're going to look at. If you're really looking to push into the advanced features of project management, Asana is just not going to cut it. Now, I recognize it sounds like I'm just shitting on Asana, which I kind of am, but I also am a former Asana user, so it's not all hate. It's just not the most exciting tool out there anymore. So sorry, Asana. With that, let's talk about the past by talking about Basecamp. Basecamp is another oldie but goodie that's been around for a while. And while Asana might be riding on the coattails from the past, Basecamp really is living in the interface of the past. When you log into Basecamp, it feels like you're going back in time. It's got a very nostalgic layout and interface to the tool. It looks like this, and clicking around, it feels very boxy and just old school. It does not feel like a modern project management tool, which for a lot of people is a con. It might be a pro for you. For me, it was kind of like a moment, and so I ranked their design a 1 out of 3. When it comes to innovation, though, that's where Basecamp is more exciting. Unlike the copycat factory of some of the other software we're going to be talking about today, Basecamp really dances to the beat of their own drum. From the co-founder's personal brand growth used to grow the business, to the actual way the tool is laid out to have everything grouped by project, to the way very opinionated features get included in the tool, such as hill climbs, Basecamp is going to give you an experience of project management that is more opinionated and different than any other tool out there. And if you like this level of weird, you're not going to find it anywhere else, and so Basecamp is definitely worth considering. Because of that, I gave Basecamp a 2 out of 3 on the innovation spectrum. They're not doing wild, crazy things all the time. They innovate rather slowly. But while Asana always seems to develop safe bets that everyone else has had for years, what Basecamp does is things that you fundamentally do not see anywhere else, and that is kind of exciting from a user perspective. Now, when it comes to the ease of use for Basecamp, I'd say it's moderately easy. I gave it a 2 out of 3. Not too much hierarchy, all pre-built, but it is a little bit clunky to get used to the project layout. Now, when it comes to features, this goes hand in hand with innovation. I give Basecamp a 2 out of 3 for all the reasons I've already listed. And when it comes to pricing, that's really where Basecamp is a bit ridiculous. Basecamp pricing is a lot lower for most teams than what you are going to see from other teams out there. They have a flat price regardless of how many users you have. So for growing organizations, that is a huge value add. And again, quite different than all of the other tools that start to blend together. So to sum up Basecamp, I think Basecamp is great for folks who have a project-based structure to their business. If you saw back in the matrix from before, for people doing agency services, Basecamp is a great option to explore. But because it's so opinionated and structured, you really have to make sure the way you run projects aligns with how Basecamp is featured, because there's not a ton of customization. Speaking of customization, one of the drawbacks of Basecamp is for folks who want to see everything sliced and diced in different ways. Basecamp is not great for that. While I love that Basecamp has a clear point of view around their product management, I don't love the interface of Basecamp as it is today. And I also would say that when it comes to seeing everything that needs to happen inside of your account, Basecamp is falling a bit behind compared to the next tool we're going to talk about, ClickUp. ClickUp in the design category is a love it or a hate it. It's a very divisive aesthetic because basically ClickUp just shows you all of the things in a big, giant, overwhelming box. They've tried to clean this up in recent updates in their ClickUp 3.0 release and more, but at the end of the day, ClickUp is still a tool for people who love seeing all of their gadgets and gizmos all cluttering their view at all times. That is ClickUp's aesthetic. I personally enjoy that because it means I get to use fewer clicks, but a lot of people don't. And so keeping in mind the feedback I've gotten from other users, I'm giving ClickUp a 1 out of 3 for design because it is just so overwhelmingly cluttered for the average user. But the clutter is not by accident. One of the reasons ClickUp feels so cluttered, at least from the user perspective, is it feels like they're always releasing new things all the time. No longer are they doing their weekly updates that they did when they first launched, but they're still releasing new features they'll call Click Apps all the frickin' time. And as new things get released, more clutter gets added to that interface. But that does mean innovation is happening at ClickUp more than many of the other tools you see out there. Are the innovations half-baked and super buggy? Often, yes, but they are innovative and you can't take that away from them. So on innovation, I give ClickUp a 3 out of 3, but of course, innovation comes with a cost. And the fact that ClickUp has a cluttered interface, way too many features for the average user, and all of it is showing in your face at all times makes ClickUp ease of use relatively low. And for people who are brand new to technology, new to task management, not patient with learning, that is going to frustrate them. I would estimate it takes about 2 weeks to become very confident using Asana or Basecamp, but ClickUp and the tool I'll talk about next, Notion, both of those are far more complicated. And with that lower ease of use, I would say it would take closer to 1 to 2 months to get confident using all the core features in those tools. It's not impossible, it's just a lot more to learn. And once you learn it, you have more features, but still it's more learning to get there. I really think ClickUp has some of the best task management features on the market right now when it comes to scaling up big projects and having the flexibility to rearrange and structure task plans. ClickUp's templates, dependency features, automations, I mean, there's a lot of really powerful stuff baked into ClickUp, which is why I think it is worth the learning curve, and I give the features a 3 out of 3. Now, when it comes to pricing, ClickUp used to be a very competitive tool when it came to price, not so much anymore. It is solidly middle of the pack. I would say overall, ClickUp is best for project builders, people who are creating innovative projects that are a little different every time. That is where ClickUp really has a lot of strength. It was created by and for themselves, who was a software company. And so if you were someone in software where you're releasing new updates each time, that kind of workflow works really well in ClickUp, and they have some great sprint functionality in there. I would skip ClickUp if you are technophobic, if you hate complex features, if everything that I'm describing, that all these advanced features makes you break out in hives, just run away from ClickUp because that is, they're the more complicated tool on the market. I think what ClickUp is really well known for is the fact that you can do pretty much everything in the tool without a mouse, which is pretty cool for those of us who are hardcore nerds. If you don't want to have to click around everywhere, I really do like how ClickUp functions in that you can do almost everything with keyboard commands. ClickUp is also known for their summarization. So kind of the opposite of Basecamp, ClickUp has a structure that it's like a Russian doll situation. So they all kind of stack into each other, which is annoying to a lot of people. But if you know how to use it properly, it means you can slice and dice your information in any way possible to see your information in all sorts of different layouts, to see all of your marketing stuff next to your ops stuff, next to your customer stuff. It ends up being more powerful than most others on this lineup. However, ClickUp is also known for lack of reliability and bugs. And that's getting better as the tool matures. But if you need a really reliable and consistent tool, ClickUp is probably not your choice, at least for the next few years. But if you do need reliable and mature tools, that brings us to our next one, which is Monday. Monday is like ClickUp's grown-up cousin, I feel like, in some ways. Monday is really steered towards the enterprise big business crowd. When it comes to design, Monday is pretty darn beautiful. I mean, it really simplifies everything down and hides everything from your view, so you have a very minimalist experience. I give it a 2 out of 3. When it comes to innovation, Monday's a bit slower than the rest, but it is purposefully doing that to enhance its ability to be extremely stable, consistent, and easy to learn. Very opposite of ClickUp if you can't tell. Now, moving on to ease of use, I give Monday a 2 out of 3 stars for ease of use. It has a very intuitive onboarding process that they take you through when they set it up, but you still need to set up your own structures and hierarchy, much like you do in ClickUp, Notion, and SmartSuite. And because of that additional work you need to do, I'm still giving it a 2. However, if you buy one of Monday's pre-built products where they basically preset things for you, you can probably make this a 3 out of 3. You'll spend a little more, but the whole tool will be ready to go out of the box, and that will make ease of use even easier. When it comes to features in Monday, I would say Monday is quite middle of the pack. It has all the things you would expect and then some. Monday doesn't have quite as many bells and whistles as ClickUp, but it definitely has more than Asana, so it's solidly in the middle. When it comes to pricing, however, Monday's skew towards larger teams is reflected in that pricing. Monday is definitely the most expensive tool at the time of recording of all of these tools we have on the list. I think Monday is a great tool for anyone who wants to have an out-of-the-box solution and needs to have the security, permissions, and controls of something built for larger teams in mind, with all the compliance and other stuff factored in. It's also a great tool to go with if you don't want to mess with setting it all up. If you just want to buy something out of the box that works well for marketing, they offer that in ways that other tools don't quite. Other tools have templates, but not quite the same model that Monday is using right now. They're one of the only ones doing this kind of product-based thing. I think what Monday's really known for, besides their slick interface and their obnoxious marketing that's all over everything, just like ClickUp, is for being the upmarket option. So for larger teams in corporate, I would say Asana and Monday are probably the most popular tools for those larger teams. Because they're very stable, they're very boring, but Monday is considerably more flexible than Asana, and for a long time that made Monday stand out. This is just my theory. However, that is really changing, and I'll talk more about who I view to be Monday's main competitor, SmartSuite, in the next section. But that's really where Monday stands out. But what would happen if we take clean interface and innovative features from Monday and we bring them down market to the one-person businesses, the students, and the freelancers? That's exactly what Notion set out to do. What makes Notion stand out is it took a drag and drop page builder with really cool functionality like these pretty headings and lines and dividers and paired that with a relational database. A relational database is where you can create things and connect them together with unique relationships. And if you want to learn more about that, you can check that out here. Now, relational databases have been around for a long time. Connecting things together is something that's built into every CRM out there. But it was not normal for small businesses like you and me to be able to create our own until, in my view, Notion brought it into the mainstream attention. With Notion, you can build these databases where you link information together by definitions that you can create. Since Notion really setting the tone for this and blowing up across the internet, particularly focused on students and creators, you now see relational databases in half of the tools you see on this list, which would not have been the case 20 years ago. Overall, I give Notion a 3 out of 3 for both design and innovation, not just for the database features that made it so popular back in the day, but because Notion is continuing to use resources today to continuously release new features. Now, don't get me wrong, Notion is definitely a slower paced innovator than the move fast and break things stuff you see over at ClickUp, but they are doing cool, exciting things that make users of Notion excited about what's going to come out in the next quarter. Speaking of excited, the other thing that excites people about Notion is that the pricing of Notion is pretty reasonable despite all the innovation that's happening. As Notion has grown, their free plan has remained quite generous, which is not the case for many of these tools, and even on their paid plans, they fall right in the middle of the pack. Overall, I think Notion is a great fit for people who love the bullet journal style way of organizing, where they like to manually create different pages, structure everything just so, and essentially create a scrapbook just designed for organizing their work projects and tasks. The same flexibility that made Notion so popular for creatives, authors, and students is what makes it a little bit challenging for teams because everyone ends up kind of doing things their own way, accidentally deleting things and all sorts of other stuff because it's just so loosey-goosey inside the Notion interface. However, for the aesthetics, the Clipper, and the new AI innovations alone, I don't think Notion's going to be going anywhere. Now, speaking of innovations, the only new tool in this lineup, one that's been around only for a few years, is SmartSuite, and that's the next one up on deck. Now, I would put SmartSuite somewhere between ClickUp and Monday.com in terms of features. It has the clean interface of Monday, but it has a lot of cool new features because it's a new kid on the block like you would see in ClickUp. I put SmartSuite's design at a 2 out of 3. The innovation wise, I definitely think it's a 3. They're doing really cool things with letting you see relational databases through their data schema view. And they've got a lot of new features coming out to continue to make the product better in really unique ways, similar to what we saw over in Basecamp. As of right now, SmartSuite isn't getting too caught up in the ClickUp Monday Notion process of all just copying each other. So it still has a pretty original point of view. When it comes to ease of use, I put SmartSuite around the same level as Monday, although its onboarding is slightly less good. So it's definitely a tool you could pick up and use quite quickly, but there is an advanced learning curve that you can go through if you want to learn all the extra power features, but you don't have to, which is not something I can say for ClickUp and Notion. Overall, the SmartSuite features to me are very impressive. I love what they're building out. There's a lot of stuff in there that you just can't find anywhere else, particularly for those who are managing large databases. So if you're tracking a lot of information, a lot of orders, if you need to do formulas and calculations, SmartSuite is my go-to tool. So I give SmartSuite a 3 out of 3 on features. Now, when it comes to pricing, SmartSuite is currently middle of the pack, but pay attention to this and make sure you use the link in the description to find out the current pricing for SmartSuite, because I really think these prices are going to change soon. SmartSuite, the way they're developing and the background of the team behind it all suggest that SmartSuite is going to eventually become a lot like Monday.com in that they work with enterprise, corporate, large companies. The features they're releasing are so good for large team management and access and data structure and these really advanced nerdy things that are really valuable for large teams. So the reason I'm saying watch out their pricing is I would expect as they move into bigger teams, you will probably see pricing rise accordingly. That is just my uninformed opinion. I'm sure SmartSuite can correct me in the comments if that's not true. So if you are looking at SmartSuite, I would actually move sooner on it so you can lock in current pricing before they move up market because they are doing some really cool things. So to round it out, I think SmartSuite is really good for people who are managing large amounts of data and essentially want to marry Airtable and ClickUp and Monday all into one tool. This is a good option for you. It's not going to be so good for people who need flexibility. So where Notion and ClickUp are really strong with flexibility, SmartSuite is a lot more rigid. It's setting fixed workflows and moving through them, and it's just not as drag and drop as these other ones. It also is quite weak when it comes to mouse-free use. I mean, in SmartSuite, there are so many clicks you need to do just to go through the interface. There's not a ton of hotkeys yet. So for someone who likes to use my keyboard more than my mouse, I find it a bit clunky. But overall, SmartSuite is doing some really cool things about automation, data schema, and user management, which makes them someone to definitely watch as we look into this next leg, because they are early in the growth curve, but I think they're going to do really cool things. But now that we covered the new kid on the block, let's talk about 2 OGs. The final 2 we have in here in the lineup is first Todoist and then Trello. So let's talk about Todoist first. Todoist is one of the most popular individual task management tools on the market. It has recently expanded its reach to try to go after teams as well, and the functionality is fine. It's basically a prettier Asana with slightly fewer features, but a much better aesthetic. I would put the design of Todoist at a 3 out of 3. I'd put the innovation at a 1 out of 3, just because it is so stable and consistent, just like Asana. However, similar to Asana, I think the ease of use of Todoist is out of this world. I would even put it like a little smidge higher than Asana if I could put half stars on here. So let's just pretend it's 3.5 out of 3. It's incredibly simple to use. It is essentially a to-do list tool. That does mean the features of Todoist are rather simple. You're not going to get those innovative views. You have even less functionality than you would in Asana. And when it comes to custom fields and other things, it's just quite limited inside Todoist. What I'm sharing here is just my own opinion from my perspective, and I would love to hear yours in the comments. And if you share it down there, that'll help other people who are trying to evaluate which software is best for them pick the right tool for them. So please share your stories down below. I'll see you in the comments, and let's move on. Now, it can certainly work for a team and it can handle a big project, but you should just expect that it is simply just a to-do list and not a lot more into it, at least as of right now. I think Todoist is a great first digital task management for teams or individuals who are looking to get organized online, particularly those who are used to creating offline to-do lists. I think it could be annoying to teams that need to push the limits and want to create more complex projects where there's a lot of dependencies. I think you're going to find Todoist a little too simple for that use case. But overall, Todoist is a great piece of technology. And if you are someone brand new to task management and you've tried and failed to use some of these more complicated tools I've talked about before, Todoist would be a great one to try to give yourself a fresh shot with one of the easiest to use and most beautifully designed task managers out there. And I should underline that task manager. Todoist manage tasks and not really a whole lot else. Whereas a lot of these other tools are built for work management, which means tasks, projects, people, communication, all sorts of other things. They're a little bit more full-featured. But speaking of simplicity, we can't talk about simple task managers without hearkening back to one of the originals, Trello. Trello, if there's any tool in this list you've heard of before, it's probably this one. What Trello was popular for was having a simple Kanban view with cards or boxes to track information through multiple stages of progression. It was really good for people who are used to analog index cards to track progress on a magnet board. And it's just a very adaptable piece of tech. What makes Trello so cool is it's been around for so long, and along the way, Trello has built this ecosystem of what they call power-ups. Power-ups are almost like mini integrations that allow you to add extra features or integrate with other tools. This is something you will also see in tools like ClickUp, who has built their own marketplace doing something similar, but with Trello being around for so much longer, they have a more robust marketplace. What's cool about this, though, is Trello's power-up feature allows you to take the basic structure of Trello, which now has more views than just Kanban, and expand its functionality to add extra doodads. So you can add voting fields and relationships and links and automations and all sorts of other things that wouldn't normally be part of this simple adjustable tool. Overall, I think the design of Trello is quite meh. I give it a 1 out of 3. It's a little dated. It's slightly better than Basecamp, but not by much. On the innovation front, I would give Trello a 1 out of 3. The power-ups and the things that are continuing to build in that marketplace are really impressive, but in terms of the core tool, don't expect much change. It's quite stable and mature. But because of that, ease of use is extremely high. I would say Trello is up there with Todoist with being the easiest tools to use on this list. When it comes to features, though, Trello is probably about a 2 out of 3. Yes, you can use power-ups to make it almost as powerful as ClickUp, Monday, Notion, and SmartSuite, but even when you add all the power-ups in the world, you end up with a slightly disjointed experience, and so I would still say this is slightly less feature-rich than some of these other options. The pricing for Trello is incredibly competitive. It's a very cost-effective option if you're looking to dive in. However, in signing up for this video, I had to create a new Trello account, and I actually saw this page in onboarding. So clearly Atlassian is trying to get more people over to Jira. Which is funny. However, I would say Trello is about as loved as Jira is hated. People who are on Trello love it nonstop. It's very popular for nonprofits, volunteer groups, and anyone looking to collaborate with a large group for a very low cost. Many people, like myself, used Trello back in the early days of our business because it is such an affordable starting point, and it will always have a warm place in my heart. So if you're looking to organize things in a more of a visual card way, if you like the modularity of power-ups, check out Trello as a starting point, and maybe just ignore this. As of today, I still haven't met someone who loves Jira. So please come out of the woodwork. I'm sure you exist somewhere. Someone has to love Jira. Anyone. I guess not. Once you have the tool, the problem is, how do you set that up? How do I set up my task management software in a way that organizes my team and systemizes my business? Well, I have a video on that next. You can watch this video right here or skip watching YouTube videos and just work directly with my team, because this is what we help teams do every single day. You can find more info in the description below. Until next time, enjoy the process.